Hi, I'm Jim N4BFR. Here is your coronavirus update for Georgia. It's Friday, August 7th, 2020. And on with the updates. We did not have a good day today. And in fact, I will take you through in some detail in a couple of minutes why Friday seems to be standing out like a sore thumb from the rest of the updates that we typically see. It's been interesting to notice that Friday's a bad day consistently, and I don't know exactly what makes it a bad day, but we will keep looking and maybe we'll figure it out one day. All right. Before I get into that, though, let me go on and talk about some of the metrics for today. Today's metrics include 91 deaths. That is a new one-day high. Our last one-day high came 2 Fridays ago at 82. So we are consistently seeing that number climb. I would expect for the next couple of weeks we're not going to have very positive overall death numbers, especially when we start to look at 7-day averages that are now over 50 consistently. Testing was above average. We had just under 30,000 tests. When you look at viral tests, that is, and the positive rate picked back up 14.5%. We haven't seen that high of a positive rate in at least a week. So that's something to watch out for. Somebody was asking yesterday, is it slow testing or slow cases? Well, you could make the argument it's been slow testing when you get these positive rates in the 14 range. So we'll keep watching that. New case, we had a 4,000 plus day for new cases, 4,109. And that's got another interesting Friday correlation to it that I will take you through in a second. New hospitalizations was down. That's a positive. A drop of over 100 from last week. The first time active hospitalizations has fallen under 3,000 since July 18th. So 19 days we had been over 3,000 in the hospital with COVID-19. Now we are just under that. Typically on the weekend we see more discharges, so hopefully that number will creep back down a little bit more and a little bit more. But for right now, I think everybody's watching that number pretty closely because that seems to be the bellwether number of how much we're really being impacted and hospital crowding and those types of things. So good to see that going down a little bit. We didn't have CCU data today, so I left CCU updates in from yesterday. You see we've got the 6 areas that are 90 plus, and we had actually 87% CCU usage as we went through yesterday. Looking at the school tracker right now, I had new or updates to 10 of the 10 items here. A lot of those are in Cherokee County. There was a really good article that someone shared talking about the fact that really documenting all of the events that have happened in Cherokee County, and there were a couple that we didn't have from fellow Redditors. I think there is still one out there that I saw on social media but not confirmed about the Cherokee County football team, Cherokee High football team. So we'll watch and see if something comes out there. But a couple of more elementary school cases where the kids have been sent home, the teachers caught it, or there was one where an after-school aide caught it that sent kids home. So something to we're tracking that there. Also added an interesting item that someone brought up for Villa Rica High School. Apparently, if you want to take classes from home, you don't get a school-issued laptop. If you come to school, here's your laptop. This is slightly different than what we saw in Middle Georgia, where students who were taking virtual learning were not eligible to be valedictorian or salutatorian, but there are these little disincentives to stay home that seem to be creeping in here when schools go in person. So if you see those, please post them, share them, get them to me somehow, and I will include them in this list, and hopefully we'll be able to keep track of all the things that are going on. Over 50 items on this list already, and I started it Wednesday, so lots of things going on in the schools. And this doesn't count colleges, too. I know there have been sit-ins, and there's a whole other mess of things at universities. If you didn't see one of the Reddit posts earlier this week, somebody filed a Freedom of Information Act request and found out that the vendor for states like Georgia State, or excuse me, for state schools like Georgia State University and ABAC, it's pushing these schools to open and have in-person student living because of their contract. They're just saying, hey, this is a contract issue and CDC doesn't say it's a problem, so send your kids in and we'll go from there. So the almighty dollar seems to be driving some of these decisions. I know that shocks a lot of people, and money is important, but sometimes you have to wonder. Okay, I promised you some information about Fridays. So let's take a look at these two statistics. And it was the deaths that piqued my awareness on this, and then I went back and looked at cases and found something similar. If you remember 3 weeks ago when we had the really bad Friday, I said this is something to watch, and that there are at times companies and businesses and politicians making deliberate decisions to release bad news on Friday afternoons because it gets it out of the news cycle unless people read the newspaper on Saturday or watch the news on Friday when they get home. We can kind of correlate this now with data coming out of the Department of Public Health, at least for the last 3 weeks. If you look at the average deaths per day in Georgia for the last 3 weeks, this is from Saturday 3 weeks ago through today, last 21 days, we saw an average of 45 deaths a day. Bad for sure, but that's the average. Now, if we look at just the last 3 Fridays, it's 85 deaths a day. What's wrong with this picture when Friday is almost double any other day of the week? Knowing what we know about people paying attention, people watching the news, people getting informed on the weekend. It's very similar for cases. If we look at cases are down 800 on average versus a Friday average. So on Fridays, we tend to have 800 more new cases announced than on any other day over the last 3 weeks. Very strange correlation. We have known for a while that reporting lags on Sundays and Mondays, but for some reason over the last 3 weeks, we have really seen it be ramped up and be more deliberate, and I'm using that word intentionally, deliberately high on Friday. So I can't prove it. I don't work at the DPH. I don't have access to their data. I don't know how the workflows happen. But, where there's smoke, there's definitely at least smoke. I can't investigate this any further, but I'm hoping that maybe some people who check these things out can. So let's see what happens over time, but very curious to see what happens. There's an old saying, and if I wanted to give them benefit of the doubt, I would pull out this saying that is correlation does not equal causation. The incidents that Just because I was in the bank when it was robbed didn't mean I robbed it. Could totally be an innocent thing. However, it's certainly not feeling like it. We'll leave it at that. And for that, that is the Friday update. Appreciate everybody watching and all you do. Don't forget, check out the data below as far as getting involved in the Reddit conversation. I will be back tomorrow with a Saturday update. Hopefully we'll have CCU data at least from Friday. We can see how things are going in the critical care units. Until then, have a great weekend.